Okay, I'm Virginia, and I'm going to be talking about plastic in the ocean. So if you've ever stood by the ocean, you know how vast it is, and it's almost overwhelming if you really think about it. For humans, the oceans have always been something unattainable, associated with the unknown, the end of life, and for many civilizations, a place where their ancestors would go to rest. So the oceans seem boundless, uncontrollable by mankind, seemingly unchanged, yet in many ways we have weakened them. For centuries, people have regarded oceans as an inexhaustible food supply, useful transport, and a convenient dumping ground. Only 3.4% of our world's oceans are protected, which means the rest of that is at the hands of humans. And although humans have damaged the environment in a number of ways, I think the most lethal method is by the use and production of plastic. So it's surprising to think about how once our world was plastic-free and now we've become so overwhelmingly dependent on plastic, creating future environmental problems that future generations will still be cleaning up. So you can see this in single-use packaging that we throw away, our disposable Starbucks cups that we take to class, or grocery bags that we carry our groceries in, consumer goods in our stores, and in our clothing, which every time your clothes go in the wash, it sheds microfiber plastics. Each year, an estimated 500 billion to 1 trillion plastic bags are consumed worldwide, and that comes out to 1 million bags per minute that's being used. And that's just in plastic bags. That's not accounting for other variations of plastic that we use every single day. So billions of pounds of plastic end up in the world's oceans annually, and studies estimate that there are now 51 trillion pieces of plastic in the ocean. To get a better understanding of how much 51 trillion really is, because I know that's like such a big number, it's hard to wrap our heads around, just think that not 1 square mile of our oceans in the entire world is plastic free. So here is an infographic. It says over 80% of ocean plastic comes from land-based sources. Only 20% originates from ocean-based sources like fisheries and vessels. So really, here, like on land, we're the problem. So I'm going to be talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. There's 5 different gyres. I'm going to be talking about this one. So a gyre is just a spinning, is a system of circular ocean currents formed by wind patterns and the rotation of the Earth. So the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a collection of marine debris, and it's located off the coast of California and Hawaii. And the circular motion of the gyre draws debris where it becomes trapped, so it's just never ending, it just stays there. And the patch is about 1.6 million square kilometers. That makes it double the size of Texas. More people think of the garbage patch as just an island of trash, but it's more microplastics, so a lot of it is not seen by the naked eye, which makes it more difficult to clean up. And if a country did want to take on that and actually try to solve all of these problems, they would go bankrupt. This promotes a problem for not only us, but for marine creatures as well. So that's also the garbage patch. So fish in the North Pacific ingest 12,000 to 24,000 tons of plastic each year, which can cause intestinal injury and starvation. And it also bioaccumulates in the food chain, so eventually it goes to us since we're at the top. A recent study found that a quarter of fish at markets in California contain plastic, mostly in the form of microfibers. So this is a picture of a yellowtail snapper. It's cut open, and you can see here the plastic that was in its system. And certain movements have begun to take place, like the Ban the Straw movement to save the sea turtles. And you can see in this picture here, this is the video that sparked that movement, and it's taking researchers taking the straw out of the sea turtle's nose. However, straws are not the only threat to sea turtles. They also can mistake plastic bags for their main food source, which is jellyfish. And sometimes they'll think they're full, but really they're just full on plastic, so they die. And new studies have found that plastic pollution is so pervasive on many beaches that it has begun to affect their reproductive system, and it's estimated that 99% of all sea turtles have plastic in them already. Plastic ingestion reduces the storage volume of the stomach, which causes starvation, and it's estimated that 60% of all seabirds have eaten pieces of plastic, with the number predicted to increase to 99% by 2050. So dead birds, as you can see here, are often found with stomachs full of plastic, and marine mammals, such as the seal, they get wrapped around in our garbage. And large amounts of plastic debris have been found in the habitat of critically endangered Hawaiian monk seals. And whales have been found with bellies full of plastic. So here, a dead sperm whale washed ashore in eastern Indonesia with 13 pounds of plastic in its stomach. So the information is there. We can clearly see the number of ways in which we've damaged our environment, and in some cases beyond repair. And I believe that this is largely due to the fragmentation in our society. So it would be the fragmentation of the economy, the environment, and society. And this is described as the 3 pillars of sustainability. A lot of people believe that they work separately, but with equal importance. So they're co-equal, but in reality they shouldn't be, because every single aspect of our lives depends on the environment. The largest system of them all is the environment that we live in. So you can see in this diagram, the economy is in the middle, then society on the outside, then the environment, and everything is encompassed within the environment. So the large system is the environment. It contains the human system, which has 2 main systems, which is the economy and society. So when groups of people, for example, a nation like the US, they agree to form a government, they form a social contract to increase their general welfare. So this contract binds the social and economic systems of the group of individuals together. So they're working together under a central government to maximize their economic output. So I think that seeing the overall system this way makes it more clear that the environment should be our highest priority. Because the lower the carrying capacity of the environment, the lower the common good delivered by the social system. So I recently read an excerpt from Henry David Thoreau's piece Walden, and if you don't know who he is, he's an author and a philosopher, and so in his book he describes the 2-year experience he had living in a cabin he built himself in the woods by Walden Pond, Massachusetts, and he did this because he wanted to live simply without constraints from society. And he also helped coin the term transcendentalist. So transcendentalist believes that there is a spiritual connection between humans and nature. And he didn't want this to just be a philosophy that we think about from time to time or stuff like that. He wanted it to be a way of life. So this idea urges us to find our original relation to the universe, and I feel as though that notion has kind of been lost amongst our generations because we've become so focused on things that really don't matter, like technology and money, and we've kind of lost that link between nature that everybody once had. If there is this apparent link between us and the environment, we must acknowledge it in order for things to change. Everything that we do is in direct correlation with the world around us, and one change creates a ripple effect. And I think that getting back to our roots would solve that problem. I also believe that the long-term solution to plastic in our oceans is to transform the role that plastic plays in our lives. So supporting the development of fundamental waste collection and decreasing the use of disposable plastic, we can prevent plastic from entering our oceans. Implementing waste collection and recycling globally can not only address the issue of ocean plastic pollution, but can improve public health by preventing infectious disease, reduce respiratory illnesses from open-air burning, and prevent food chain contamination. It can also increase economic and job growth, make us healthier, and reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. So in conclusion, we can start making small changes in our lives on an individual level and work up to local, state, and even national level for greater victories to be won. And if you're ever at Starbucks again, use a reusable cup. They actually give a discount if you bring your own. If you're at a grocery store, bring a reusable bag instead of using plastic ones. there's just so many small ways that we can get involved, and honestly, one person does make a difference.